Liverpool 2, Manchester City nil. What an incredible game. There's plenty to talk about, and that's exactly why we're here. But before we start, please don't forget to smash that like button and of course subscribe to the channel for more daily content around football. The game took place under circumstances where Liverpool hadn't beaten this Manchester City side for nearly 10 years at Etihad. But this season, things are clearly different, and Arne Slot and his team knows that to win the title, they need to do things that they haven't done in previous seasons. And of course, the fact that winning this game would have allowed them to extend their lead over Arsenal, it just gave them more motivation to win this. But before we start praising Liverpool, we need to take a look at this game from Manchester City's perspective. Erling Haaland missed this game due to injury or sickness, I don't really know which one. And Omar Marmoush led City's attack. From the very beginning, they took control of the game, and to be honest, they dominated position from the very beginning and for the majority of the game. But they didn't really create any dangerous chances on Liverpool's goal. Pep Guardiola used some of his new players, but even that wasn't enough to put the ball in the back of the net. And Jeremy Doku tried to trouble Trent Alexander-Arnold with his dribbling, pace and skills. And to be fair, he did. But as always, he lacked the final product. The one thing that we actually talk about Luis Diaz as well. This game also showed us that it might be the last time we see Kevin De Bruyne in a City shirt against Liverpool, because the running and the work rate between him and someone like Dominic Szoboszlai, it was a lot different, and that shows you how important it is to rebuild your team. And I think that's exactly what Jurgen Klopp did for Liverpool, replacing his old midfield with new players like McAllister and Szoboszlai and even Ryan Gravenberch. And Arne Slot is actually taking benefits from that. And this success that Liverpool is having this season is just a result of honest, good work from Jurgen Klopp in rebuilding that team. And although Pep admitted that this game gave him hope for future because his team had a lot of position and they just lacked the finishing skills, but it felt like it was always Liverpool's game plan to let City have the ball and just hurt them from counterattacks and transitions. And that's exactly what Liverpool did. And Liverpool, they took another huge step towards winning the league, fully capitalizing on Arsenal's loss against West Ham. Over the past week, Liverpool's been under immense pressure because many believed they were crumbling after they lost points against Aston Villa. But going to Villa Park and playing against a team that is managed by Unai Emery is always a hard thing to do, and I actually always knew that Liverpool was going to drop points there. It was totally natural, and it's funny how people start criticizing this side so fast and easily because they've had a great season. They've lost only one game against Nottingham Forest, and after that they've managed to take points from every other team they've faced. And as I said, it was always going to be a hard game against Aston Villa. But people started to criticize Liverpool. Oh, they're having a crumbling and they're falling apart. They're out of form. Arsenal's going to reduce the margins. Arsenal's going to be right next to them. I mean, that's funny. That's ridiculous, actually. And with the win that Liverpool had, the win that Liverpool earned in this match, they bounced back and actually they put the pressure back on Arsenal. Arne Slot didn't play any of his traditional number 9s in this game. Obviously Diego Jota isn't fully fit, and Darwin Núñez is just mentally not there yet, and you could see it in his eyes. And just like the Aston Villa game, Slot played with two number 10s, playing both Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones, and oh my god, it worked. And Dominik Szoboszlai actually had a great role in this victory. His work rate and effort has been incredible over the past few games, and he's contributed to a lot of goals as well. Even in the Villa game, he passed a great ball to Darwin Núñez in which he couldn't just finish it. And if he did, Dominik Szoboszlai would have had another assist in that game as well. I mean, this guy ran so much in this game that when the final whistle was blown, he just fell apart, laid on the ground, and just rested for a few seconds, because that's exactly what you need from your players. If you want to be successful, if you want to win the league, you have to work hard. A great guy once said that there are two types of players: the ones that make the difference and the ones that run like hell. And in this team, Mo Salah is making the difference. So if you're not Mo Salah, you need to run like hell. And Sobo is actually doing that. But despite Dominik Szoboszlai's great performance in this game, as always, Mohamed Salah was the best player on the pitch, contributing to both goals, having a goal and an assist, and proving that there is only one Egyptian king in Premier League. And aside from these two players, we need to talk about another two players, and I'm talking about Virgil van Dijk and Ibo Konate, who had brilliant performances against City. They are like a brick wall, and nobody can pass them easily, at least. And they had a great role in this game and in Liverpool's success throughout the season. And I think that's how you need to win a league. You need all your players in all lines to be at their best. And Liverpool's not having the best defensive line this season. Arsenal is having a better season in terms of that, in terms of receiving goals. But Ibo Konate and Virgil van Dijk, for me, are the best center-half partnership in the league. And aside from them, our midfield is playing better than Arsenal's midfield. And our attack is just miles away from them. And if our players somehow manage to secure the title early on this season, I mean, even mid-April would work for me. If they did that, then they could put their effort and their concentration on their Champions League run as well. But let's talk about Arsenal. They had a golden opportunity to capitalize on Liverpool's draw against Aston Villa with a win against West Ham. And they could have closed the gap between us and them to 5 points. But as I said in previous videos, this is the Premier League, and winning games, even against sides like West Ham, without a real striker, it's hard, it's kinda impossible. What happened against Leicester and the 2 goals that Mikel Merino scored, it never meant that Merino could fill the lack of strikers. He is a midfielder, and although he scored 2 goals against Leicester, he was clueless against West Ham. Although I believe the loss against West Ham wasn't the result of not having a striker, because Arsenal didn't really create it much. I mean, there are games where Arsenal creates so many chances and there's just no one to score them. And then you could talk about the lack of striker and how it affects the team. Games like game against Newcastle in the EFL Cup semi-finals, the game against Aston Villa in which they drew 2-2. I mean, these are the games you could say Arsenal didn't win the game because they do not have a striker. But in this game against West Ham, Arsenal was awful in almost every department of the pitch. Their midfield was abysmal. Odegaard and Rice didn't show up. I mean, when you do not have a good striker, your midfielders, especially your captain, should show up, should help your team. I mean, look at Liverpool's game. I'm not comparing Liverpool and Arsenal. I know Liverpool has a lot of firework up front. But against Manchester City, Liverpool did not play any of their strikers. And Arne Slot, with a change of plan, managed to win the game. Played both Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai. And they were both rotating throughout the game. And respect to West Ham, I'm not taking anything away from them, but at Emirates, you expect Arsenal to capitalize on Liverpool's slipping. But every time that Liverpool has lost points, Arsenal has lost points as well. And I blame that on the manager. I blame that on Mikel Arteta, who should talk to these players and prepare them mentally. They should know that there is not going to be a lot of chances to close the gap between them and Liverpool. Of course, I'm happy they're not doing it. But their fans are not. And I think the players that played in this game against West Ham are absolutely responsible for this loss. They had another red card. They've had the most red cards in this season of the Premier League as well. And Miles Lewis-Skelly has had 2. And the red card was obviously the right decision. David Raya was away from his goal, and West Ham player looked to be in charge of the ball. Could have made another goal opportunity, so that was the right decision from the ref. And to be honest, I do not stand a chance for Arsenal to catch Liverpool. Their next game is against Nottingham Forest. And Nottingham, of course, lost this weekend against Newcastle, but Arsenal, with no striker and no game plan, I truly don't think they're going to earn any points against Nottingham Forest. Unless Mikel Arteta comes up with a master plan, which I don't think happens ever. So yes, this was the weekend that we had and the fixture that we experienced. And Liverpool, of course, managed to extend the gap between them and Arsenal. And there are a lot of people who believe that the title race is over, if there was any title race. And I truly want to know your comments, so don't forget to share your thoughts with me down below in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this game. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It will help me grow as fast as possible, and I really, really appreciate it. And as always, have a good one.